Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Index Office Hours. Today is the 28th of April, and this is Index Office Hours 255. Thank you, Juan, for posting the agenda in the chat. Going to repost for those who have just joined us. Welcome to all of those who are joining us today. This is the town square where ecosystem participants come together and discuss the most important and relevant topics for indexers. As always, as I like to say, this conversation we love participation, so please do get involved in today's conversation. And just as a reminder, if you are concerned about privacy, just bear in mind this call is recorded and will be posted onto public channels like YouTube. So if you are concerned about privacy, just bear that in mind. And with that, let's get into today's agenda. I will be handing off to Carlos for the regularly scheduled Repo Watch section.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So this week there's been a couple of exciting releases, or at least one. So 𝗨𝗀𝗀𝗳𝗂𝗋 has a new minor version. It's version 3.4.0 is out from a few hours ago, and it packs quite a lot of things. Some performance improvements, data size improvements as well, and quite a large bundle of fixes and some more RPC calls additions. So this is a very exciting one. It's been worked on for quite some months. Secondly, we have a new Firehose Ethereum release. This is a patch version. We are now at 2.17.2, and it has a few additions to the block header format. It's not very urgent, I don't think, but it is related to an upcoming hard fork, so bear that in mind. Otherwise, there's nothing on consensus layer clients, and on GraphStack, we also have another exciting release. So 0.43.out for graph nodes is out, and it does pack quite a few things. Some of the highlights are per chain RPC settings are now allowed. Failover for the RPC provider for the block ingester. Some skip duplicate functionality for immutable entities. Rewrite of call cache eviction logic, and quite a few more things. So check out the release notes if you're interested. And this is not a new release from this week, but we missed this over the last couple of weeks. So Indexer Agent is now at 0.25.9. There's been a couple of patch releases since we left update on it. There have not been many significant changes, but some minor fixes, especially related with the presenting POI flow, which seems to be the most immediately relevant one. So that's it on this part of the stack. Lastly, on Launchpad, we have no new chart releases over the last week, even though now there's, over the next couple of days, there should be a new Oregon one. We do have a new PR for the addition of a new chart for REST. So that's significant. The PR has not been merged yet. It's waiting some further testing, but hopefully we should have a new addition to the chart soon. And that's it for this week. So I'm handing over to 𝗂𝗂𝗧 as usual.
Thanks, Carlos. Okay, for Protocol Watch, we have a couple things to cover. First of all, from governance, as always, we have two GRCs, that is GRC 005 and 006. 005 is Dispatch, which is an experimental JSON RPC data service on Horizon. And GRC 006 is Mainline, which is a Firehose data service in Horizon. Slightly not related, but kind of like in the same line. They're quite interesting. They're pretty lengthy reads, but interesting nonetheless if you're interested in the proposal to get those things on chain. So yeah, I will leave those things. Well, they're linked in the agenda, so if you're interested in any of those, you can find them there. We don't have any new updates for the forum research category. We do have a few things to cover in the contracts repository, mainly some PRs with audit fixes related to indexing payments, some deployment preparations for DIPs for testnet, and some chore PRs for bumping some versions and whatnot. No new updates for the network subgraphs, and that's pretty much it for this week. So I'm going to be handing over to Abel now.
Alrighty. Last week we got a few questions about some updates on REO. I think Matthew was quite keen on hearing some of that. And so I got Rem to join us today to give us some updates on REM. REO. So by all means, Rem, feel free to take it away.
Missed the last bit of what you said, but I presume you were suggesting I should speak now?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, just saying, by all means, feel free to take the mic.
Yeah, sure. So I think the questions I picked up were just sort of on the timing of REO. So it's not quite deployed yet, which is later than we had initially hoped. What we have achieved now, we have got council approval for all of the GIPs involved. So there were a set of 5 involved. One was actually already approved previously, but the remaining 4 are now all approved. So that's one major step. I had to do a bit of backwards and forwards with the auditor. He didn't have enough time to actually audit all the changes we wanted to make in the last round. So I had to cut them down just to what was necessary to get it deployed at this stage. But the auditor now says they can complete the audit this week, which will be another of the blockers out of the way, hopefully very quickly. And then we are still doing a bit of implementation work. We've seen indexing payments work. Obviously, we've seen REO work, which was the main thing. REO is quite well tested. Indexing payments are still at the beginning of being tested, but we think most of the functional changes are there. There's a bit of hardening of how the pieces integrate, etc. We'll also add, actually, there was one change requested during the review process, or suggested at least, which was that when an indexer is not eligible and they attempt to collect indexing rewards, but then that instead of those indexing rewards being immediately lost, which is kind of an operational mistake, if you like, claiming at the wrong time, that you're going to be eligible again soon. But instead of that, we actually revert the call so that they don't collect yet, but they also don't lose them yet. So we've actually implemented a change to make that possible and planning to configure the system that way. It's actually a configuration option. It's not hardwired one way or the other, but we're now planning to configure the deployment so that if an attempt is made to collect, but you're not eligible, the call will revert. You can then investigate why. We need to do a bit of testing still with this, with indexer agent, but we think it's not a major change. That indexer agent can keep retrying. And then if you, as an indexer, regain eligibility in time, then you'll still be able to claim. Now, there's a caveat here to understand. This doesn't extend the period of time that the allocation does not go stolen. So there's still a natural bound to this, that it has to still be claimed while your allocation's not stale. Otherwise, prevent the allocation going stale, you'd need to submit a 0 POI. But then if you submit a 0 POI, of course, you're losing those rewards. So timeline, I think realistically we do need to wait for the audit to finish, and then we'll be deploying and taking for a test cycle the contracts again, the final contracts. we won't get to that stage this month anymore, which actually we previously actually hoped we were already done. I'm pretty sure we'll get it done next month now. Hopefully not late in the month, but we have to make sure it's all correct and working well. Any questions? Actually, I should look at the chat. I can't see the chat at the moment.
Any questions? I know, Matthew, you were quite keen to hear some updates here, so I'm curious if you have any questions. How's my connection, by the way? Is it okay? I think I had some drop off there. That's perfect. Okay. Okay. Cool. Anyone else with any questions on the latest updates in regards to REO? I don't know what's going on. I think I have some drop off, but you guys can hear me, right?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. That's really strange because I'm getting like disconnected. Anyways, okay, yeah. I can't see any questions in the chat, so assuming there are none. But if there are, feel free to type in the chat or just interrupt. Any further updates, Ram, in regards to REO before we move on?
No, that's everything I had. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the updates there, and hopefully Matthew and the others who asked for the updates previously are satisfied and with the updates. And yeah, hopefully we can see some more activity coming up soon. There's been some exciting developments, so very excited to see how this progresses. Okay, cool. We also have Slim, who I've been talking to about the roadmap. And so if you want to just share a few updates on the roadmap, Slim, that'd be awesome.
Sure. As I briefly mentioned at the start of this call before everybody had joined, the 4 GIPs related to the rewards eligibility oracle, as well as the upgrades needed to deploy the rewards eligibility oracle, have been approved by the council as of yesterday. And that bundle of GIPs also include the GIP to direct 5% of issuance towards direct indexer payments. That will be a way to improve, yet another way to improve the capital efficiency in the network and direct indexer work directly on subgraphs that need it. So that's something that initially it will be managed by Edgenode, and I think it will be valuable for the community to have some follow-up sessions on that, on how these subgraphs are selected and how that is handled. And there is some work that has already been done, and I think Samuel already have been on a call here to discuss some of the indexer selection algorithms for DIPs. I think one of the questions that were asked in previous IOH there, for one, is whether indexers can set a separate cut for DIPs agreements, which they will be able to. Yeah, I think it's worth having a separate session once we are closer to starting that, and I think we probably want to start an iterative process as soon as possible and start working on that. Rem, do you have any details on that, on when we can start working directly with some indexes on getting this deployed and tested?
So I'm hoping as soon as the audit wraps up that we'll be able to start that process. If the audit takes a bit longer, we'll probably start it before the audit's complete, but it's nicer if it wraps up quickly. Regarding the question about setting a different cut, actually each indexer explicitly sets the cut per type of collection. So there are 3 types of collection here now. There's for indexing rewards, there's one for query fees, you had those already, and now there's a third collection type for indexing payments, and you set the per type of fee that you're collecting. So that hopefully answers the question people had. I think the question came up before, and I think my answer wasn't very clear at the time, leading to some confusion, but hopefully that clears it up.
Yeah. Are we coordinating with the Explore team? Will that be available? And what is the default cut there?
I don't know what the default cut is actually. Someone else on the call might know. But yes, there are obviously user interface changes that will be involved with indexing payments to work through.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it works as in the same way as the other payment types. It will default to 100%. So I would assume that's the same for dips as well. But we can look into that and come back on a later IOH with some direct information there. And so that is on the protocol economics side. We are also progressing with the liquid staking initiative. We will be deploying that in a closed environment very soon. And speaking of that, the set of contracts that we are using is Enzyme's Onyx vaults. If anyone wants to look into those. They are also working on the roadmap towards a cross-chain staking. So that is also on the roadmap and should be ready within the next 5 to 8 months. But the liquid staking initiative is just starting just now. In the next couple of months, we will be deploying onto Arbitrum. Let me see what the other things on the roadmap. We are also progressing with the different data services, substreams and Tycho, of course, being 2 big ones. I think Juan, you're on the call. Can I put you on the spot and on the status of those?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
Just the status of substreams data service and Tycho data service.
Yeah, for Substream Data Service, which is the one that we're mostly working on most of the time, we're close to finishing the MVP implementation. That mostly means the whole tech stack, not the contracts themselves for the on-chain side of things, but the tech stack to be able to handle payments and handle consumer and provider relationship and interactions, which was the most heavy part of the implementation. It's missing just a few things on the funding side of things and the collection side of things for the payments. Currently, that part is kind of manual, but everything else is already automated. We're trying to get that done as soon as possible to get it working in a simple way for now. And then the next steps would be to make that fully decentralized and permissionless by working on the contract side of things and having that be included as part of Horizon That's pretty much where we're at with Substream Data Service. For 𝗨𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗀, I don't think there have been significant work being done in the past couple of weeks. I've been out of office for 2 weeks, so don't really have all of the insight on that front.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Out of curiosity, for the indexes that are here, how many of you are familiar or are running Firehose and substreams? Seeming fast and Phoenix, you don't need to answer. I know you are. GraphOps as well. Yeah.
Yes, we're also running Firehose and substreams.
It's one or the other. What is that? What is that, Paul?
I'm just testing out the feature.
Yeah, so I mean, we will be having a lot more documentation ready as well, and when that time comes around, when we will be having that as a public data service. I think those are the main things I wanted to touch on the roadmap this time. If we wanted to make it a little bit more of a recurring section in index office hours, it will probably be quite like short, rapid fire updates. Maybe I can ask that on this call as well, but you guys prefer that it is more often, but very short updates, or would you appreciate something that is more like once a month, but more beefy updates?
Sounds like Matthew's looking for weekly updates. Anyone else got any thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking the same. I was thinking, well, I think that was what I said to Abel, that maybe we can do it like bi-weekly, so every second week, so I don't, just end up repeating myself every week. But that is still a lot more frequent than it is today. And Josh, I really do hope I see your tongue emoji, but I really do hope it's the real. Yeah, Vince, as well, with Kubernetes, that might also be something that we set up able towards when Substream data service goes towards being live, and maybe worth having another session to get people up and running with Kubernetes. So bi-weekly, as in, yeah, bi-weekly is one of those English words, right? It either means twice a week or every 2 weeks. But yeah, I meant every 2 weeks. Maybe you can set that up.
Yeah, I'm happy to coordinate with you and we can get that locked in. In fact, I'll
Yeah.
put it on the calendar now.
Yeah, invite me to the calendar, or like invite me to like a bi-weekly. Hey, this is a roadmap update day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have to, given that I have quite a tight calendar at times, I may have to like shift it a week back or forth sometimes, but I'll try to aim for every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Sounds good. I'll do that now.
I don't I don't use words like fortnightly with Americans. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that standard is in the US. But yeah. Any like direct questions on the roadmap? Happy to take them as well and like catch people up. I think I've talked mostly through the big lines, but
Any updates on X402?
X4.2 is already merged to the gateway update, but we are just waiting for a release. So it should be momentarily available, and people should momentarily be able to serve subgraph data via X402.
Nice.
So just at the final phase of testing and making sure that it's being bundled with a few other upgrades to the gateway. So that's why we are just testing everything at once. And yeah, I think that's a good timing. I think there's been quite a bit of media coverage on X4.2 lately. So
Exactly. Matthew's asking the question, how to ship faster. And then also the question is, X402 a fad or is it here to stay? I think it's pretty cool. I think it's something that can only be uniquely enabled by crypto. So I think it's pretty cool.
yeah, if that is the exact standard that will say, I don't know, but agents and agent payments, I do think it's fair to say. It's something that like micropayments is already something that we discussed in the graph just 5-10 years ago, having micropayments for services on the internet and like with AI, it seems to be here a lot quicker than we thought. We had a long session on this I had a long chat with Yanid on this back in 2021, and yeah, that was already back then. It was what we probably saw subgraphs and other technologies move towards being more for like micropayments and like micro economy on the internet, where you may even just be able to sell data as well, right? Like even like personal data, you can like imagine every time you view an ad, you get some revenue when every time you interact with certain parts of the internet, you spend some money, and I don't think that is like unthinkable. So, but if that will shake out to be the X4.2 standard, I don't know. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? That knows a lot more about X4.2 than I do.
Anyone have any thoughts? I think it's pretty cool. Let's see. Surely there's someone in here who's got some expertise on X402 or stablecoins or payments. It's such a big aspect of crypto, so I'm curious to hear people's perspectives. I largely agree with Slim on this. Ask the bots. Which ones? I see Marc-Andre is typing. And Eugenia as well, awesome. And Rem, awesome. Marc-Andre saying micropayments, one of the original promises of the internet. That and nuclear war survivability. Yeah, very true. As part bot, I think X402 is cool too. I like that. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of your automations that you're working on. It's pretty cool. Parts are taking over, as you know. Major Japanese airline deploys humanoid robots as bag. No way. Is that real or is that a gimmick? Insane. How many have been deployed? Actually, it sounds insane. And waiting for my upgrade. I'm still stuck on Burn Bench. Yeah. Mm. No, I know that kind of joking there about shipping fast. But I have been hearing from folks about well, Matthew's been quite vocal as of late in terms of like how updates, how things can move a bit faster. Is there anything that can be done within the team to make these updates happen like faster or expedite things? I know that like it's very different when you're building a protocol that's being used by a bunch of different people to ship updates. Yeah, I mean Petco moves fast, but the thing is, Petco is working on a solo project, and it's much easier to do that when you're just a solo dev, just hacking away. I feel like it's much harder to do it at a larger scale. But yeah, what's blocking things from going faster? Cancel improvements. Yeah, just like if there's any way, please don't skip actual QA. Yeah, of course. That stuff's really, really important. We can't skimp on decentralization. Things are slow, yeah, but they're more robust. Council has approved all GGPs. Amazing, nice. Yeah, is there any thoughts? I see Rem is typing. Yeah, if there's any thoughts on like how things can be expedited, I'm sure Matthew and the others would be pretty to hear more about that.
I know for some of the projects or initiatives that I'm working on in the roadmap side, it's the human coordination and allowing people to sleep factor. So if I send a proposal over to an external third party, I would still, no matter how good an AI agent is, I will still need to wait until like they have seen it on a Monday morning and reply to me towards the end of the week and so on. So I think that is still not, it may be going faster with AI, but it still needs some, human coordination. Yeah, humans is definitely the bottleneck now. So I think that is a major one, but we definitely should, with in the day of AI, we should definitely go item by item and understand if there's like any other bottlenecks that are more like technical where we can speed it up by changing how we work on it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's reasonable. And yeah, as Matthew was saying as well, things just move slow when things are well distributed. And yeah, there's like robust security practices that everyone needs to engage in and coordination, as you were saying, Slim. So yeah, that's very reasonable. I think it makes a lot of sense. things that take time are often the things that you don't expect and should not. A few times, issues integrating environments need to change, needing to change approach because contract size is over limit, and then personal dev server breaking, etc., etc. Yeah, these are all very reasonable things. So yeah, it's sort of very, very understandable. Everyone on the team right now, we don't need to wait on code. You want to share some more insight, Matthew, on how you guys do things? Maybe there's some interesting stuff there that you can share. It's also very important for people to sleep as well. That's how you have maximum cognitive function. So let's not sacrifice on sleep. Just saying the AI writes most of the code. Okay, bro. Okay, I see what you mean. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like that is often the bottleneck there is the project management and making sure that things are coordinated, and especially cost team and then also cost organization coordination is definitely a bottleneck, and making sure that people know what needs to be deployed and what other teams are working on and so on. So
Yeah, agreed. Switching gears back to the roadmap, then, are there any things that are hung over from Q1 2026, or has everything been completed and delivered there? Just confirming. I may have missed that. So just confirming. Okay, that's being worked on. I know we've got some updates on that. I think that's it,
yeah.
right?
There's also under Q1 2026 we have under substreams we had both RED and BESU instrumentation, but BESU instrumentation had been moved to either Q2 or Q3, but I haven't had the time to update the web page itself. That's based on when we need it and in our work with certain clients that are paying for that integration. So that will be moved. Looking on here on this, if there's anything else in Q1, I think that's that it's that and the reward eligibility oracle.
Nice. And there was I can't find the link, but there was a cool roadmap animation that you did on the site that I'm trying to look for.
And animation or like this?
Like a part of the web animation might be the wrong word, but the part of the website where you could just click through and see. Yeah, is this the one? Yeah, this one. Yeah. Is this something you're actively updating?
Yeah, the only item that is not accurate there is the substreams one. I should split that into two. One that is complete and one that is not. We've been wanting to make this more interactive, maybe have it color coded, because internally I have a Notion database that is color coded based on whether something is on track, completed, at risk or cancelled, and that may be something that is worth doing as well, and having that automatically update on the website.
That'd be really cool. And we could just like refer to that as a core source of truth that we share like bi-weekly here on IOH as we discuss through some of the things that are going on. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think so too. And that way, community can also async see when there's any like changes, any like status updates to individual roadmap items, and like what is holding it up, and we could always have some of that info be available when you click on the individual cards or something. So
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm curious to go a bit deeper into what Carlos is saying, because that's and a lot of like what I've been experiencing. Maybe I'm doing vibe coding wrong, but I think like the hype and the actual usefulness of this stuff like is a bit detached. I think that you can do some cool stuff, but it's small trivial things. It's not large things, and if you do large things, then it it hallucinates quite a bit. It sounds like other people are having different experiences though, so I'm actually curious to hear people's perspectives on this as well. Yeah, AI is really good at reading docs, of course, and that's helpful. Like, how much of your programming is done by Claude, Vince, versus by hand? What are you doing now? Are you dictating or something? Voice, really? No freaking way. Are you serious? I find Whisperflow like to be like it's good, it works, but like it looks, you can tell it's been written by AI. Like it adds punctuation and like sometimes you get what do you call it, those dashes, I forget what they're called, which is really annoying. Board shortcut goes to M dash, yeah, an M dash. That is funny. Yeah. What is ghosty? Terminal, okay. But what speech to text do you use, Vince? It sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty casual. Like it looks like you're typing. Native Mac? No freaking way. I do Whisperflow, but it's just like it's not that customizable. I want it to use lowercase, but it won't do that. So it looks like it's and it uses M dashes, which is a bit annoying. If anyone has any like tips or tricks there, I'd love to hear those perspectives. And if anyone's got any ways of doing it, that's I'm very keen. I type way faster than I talk. Be pointless for me. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Also, for some people, like typing is yes, that's why I don't like Swiftflow, because it does that. Yeah. Don't have issues, but keeps displaying modular on mistakes, so it helps a lot. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense on the Claude setup. Whistleflow, having an agent that feeds into Claude and telling it to amplify. That's hilarious. Bottleneck is me trying to figure out what I want to type and say. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's interesting using these tools. Maybe I need to just like try different tools or be a bit more patient. And perhaps I can learn how to actually. Yeah, there are so many. There are so many. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up. I think working on AI is like babysitting. Surprises you how clever it is and reminds you that it's not an adult, sometimes high maintenance. Yeah, that is a very good comparison. That is a very good comparison. That's a good point. I prefer typing, end up using text editor as an editable stream. So, okay, yeah. Edit formats all over you. Yeah, definitely. What is this? Your agentic stack. This is cool. Awesome. I'm gonna check that out. Thanks for sharing that, Vince. Yeah, I'm curious to see people's setups and stuff. Yeah, or some sort of child that's very hallucinating with confidence. That's also another thing. How's the POAP, by the way? Is everyone claiming it with no issues? I think Eugenia pasted the link in the chat there, so should be working fine. But just give us a shout if anyone's having any issues. Got yours? Okay, awesome, amazing. It might come. I think it's babysitting us. Oh, geez, yeah, that's a day that's definitely coming. I don't know when, but it'll be a very scary day. Spend your hours baby-proofing your repo with agents, the MD, and guardrails, and then it still insists on having some. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So it's been a mixed experience from several people in here. That's very insightful. I'm definitely going to check out the authentic stack that Vince shared, which is awesome. I use goes a lot too. So things are one command. Yeah, nice. Oh, nice. Dude. 𝗨𝗂𝗳𝗂𝗧 is awesome. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing this. It'd be cool to do maybe a knowledge share on like how people are using AI in their workflows, and sharing some like some wisdom. Because it sounds like people having different levels of experience with these tools. And maybe there could be some interesting knowledge sharing. Is that something people would be up for doing later date? Delete your prod DB was once a command for the X thread. linked. Yeah, show and tell for the class. That would be cool. Yeah. Be awesome to bit of a knowledge share there. I'm very personally interested in hearing that as well. Technically fix the TV. Last time I used Claude, I called it dumb as fuck in CAS before exiting. So, so far hasn't. Okay. Jeez, that's funny. I have a. Oh, nice. We'd love to hear more about that, Marc-Andre. Maybe you can share some stuff on that in a future knowledge share. I'm going to actually write that down so I don't forget. It'd be really cool to cover in a conversation for sure. Let me just find the. There you go. Yeah, that'd be really cool to discuss. Okay, scanning your messages for curse words. Oh wow. I find the aspect challenging the trap of interacting with AI conversational model and how it lends itself to yeah, that's a good point. Basically giving read-only access to the whole infra and made it learn about graph node. Oh, nice, very cool. How's that been helpful? How's that been useful? Like what's come of that, Marc-Andre? Saving hours every day. Oh man, well, definitely have you come on and discuss more about that in a knowledge sharing session. I've already wrote that down, but I'm gonna just flag knowledge sharing session. Yeah, that would be really cool. Maybe you can even do that next week if you're around. Does that work next week, Marc-Andre? How many decisions are based on human time as well? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Yeah. All right. Perfect. I'll message you on that. I put it on the calendar, so I'll make a note of that. That'd be really cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour, so I'll take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining today's Index for Office Hours. It was a great conversation where we did a lot of updates, and hopefully this was very helpful for people to catch a glimpse of like where we're at and where we're headed. Thank you, Rem and Slim, for covering the topics that you did. Before I wrap up, any final thoughts from either of you on the stuff we discussed today? No? Alrighty. Well, I see Slim saying thank you in the chat, so I'll take this opportunity to say thank you, and we'll wrap for today's conversation. See you guys next week for IOH. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.